Hello world, welcome back to the Razor RC, and we got a new radio on the channel. The one everyone talks about, the Flysky Noble NB4. This has been out for a number of years, probably like 3 years or so, and I just picked one of these up, so I will have a link in the description below. No one sent this to me for free or anything like that. I did pay for this, but a lot of people have been talking about this radio and saying it's like the best radio ever. Is it really? We're gonna find out. Now, I do tons of videos on radios. I looked through my list of every radio I've gotten. I think I've used something like 25 different radios. I'm not talking about 25 radios like, you know, 5 Traxxas radios and 5 Spectrum radios. I'm talking about 25 totally different models. And I've used everything from like super budget, like $20 radios, up to like, you know, pretty high-end race radios from San Juan, which is what I normally use. But yeah, so kind of been getting back into reviewing radios, so we're going to take a look at the Flysky Noble NB4. They make a couple different versions. I think this is the one that comes with like a single receiver, but I have not opened this box up yet, so we're going to take a look inside. So it looks like we got boxes within boxes. Let's see if we can actually cut this thing open and take a look inside. Touching Infinity. Okay. Sounds very impressive if you can get to infinity with this radio. So I have used this radio before on the track. Actually, a buddy of mine had one of these, so I did get a chance to actually drive with one of these before. I gotta say the presentation is quite impressive, a lot nicer than pretty much any other brand out there. I mean, you've got kind of the silver looking cover here, so it is very impressive packaging. You know, Flysky has been around for a long time. They pretty much focused on kind of like budget radios, and then until they released this, you know, they were kind of a low-end product line. So it does come with 2 batteries. I believe there's one actually in the handle or in the radio itself, and then you have a secondary battery here that plugs into the bottom. Not really sure how that hooks up, but it is an impressive piece of hardware. I think this is aluminum, like the upper receiver is aluminum, the handle feels like plastic. Maybe this is plastic, but it's quite a heavy transmitter. I mean, it feels extremely solid. It's got like a nice color display, reversible controls, so if you're right-handed, if you're left-handed, you can flip this thing around. So really impressive hardware overall. I'll say that is one of the most impressive looking radios out there. Let's see what's in this box. Looks like I dropped the receiver here. So, okay, this is an extremely large receiver, the FGR4V2 receiver. This is one of the, might be the biggest receiver I've ever owned. Yeah, it is quite huge. Short antenna though, a bunch of different channels. I don't know how many channels this is actually. Is it like 6 or 7, something like that? 3.5 volts, 12 volts. Nice little specs here on the receiver to tell you what it actually uses. Of course, it's a 2.4 gigahertz radio. So it looks like 4 different channels, and then I don't know what these other 2 servo and sense channels are. Maybe there's some telemetry. Oh, I got another receiver. Okay, this is what I'm all about. I'm into these tiny little receivers. I don't do long distance runs or high speed runs or anything like that, so something like this is what I'm into. I guess it requires a bind plug. Comes with a bind plug there. Other goodies, looks like different springs for different spring tensions, I'm assuming for the trigger and the control wheel. Different grips, really nice. I like that. So it seems like there's a pretty good amount of customizability. A little USB cable, I presume to download new firmware, or maybe it's to charge the battery actually. Yeah, it looks like you have a micro USB to USB, I think it's called A connector there. Little quick start guide, so kind of explains how to turn it on and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what's in there. And then my other bind plug, and it looks like an antenna tube. So, interesting. I guess if your car does not have an antenna tube, you got a spare one. So yeah, that's what's in the box. The Flysky Noble NB4. So this is what it has, a really nice full color touchscreen menu. Here's all the options. You can kind of scroll left and right. to change a bunch of stuff, including downloading the full-on manual. So that's pretty interesting. It is kind of cool. It does seem to have quite a few options. So yeah, very impressive set of functionality. I mean, that is one thing about the Noble NB4. The functionality list, the hardware seems extremely impressive. I mean, out of the box, this is a very impressive radio. I think it sells for about $200 normally. And for that price, I mean, there's nothing that really comes close to how nice this is. Now, on the other hand, I will say I've used this radio before, and on a car I'm very familiar with, the Team Associated B6. I think it was like a 6.1 or 6.2 car. So it was a car I was familiar with, a radio that I was, not familiar with. So I was just driving with this radio, and I was not impressed with the performance of this thing. Now I know it says like less than 3 millisecond latency, all this blah blah blah, all this stuff. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but latency is not the only number to be aware of. You actually need frame rate, you actually need consistency in that frame rate, so that actually will lead to a high performing radio, something that actually feels connected. So we'll see though. I've never owned one of these before, so I want to try this out in an actual race buggy. To me, the number one thing a radio has to do is actually control the car very well. And so while there's a lot of nice whiz-bang features on all the different radios, number one, it actually has to perform well in actually driving an RC car, steering and throttle especially. So we'll see how this goes. Super excited about trying this out because I've never had one of these, and it is definitely an impressive looking radio, but we'll have to see how it actually drives. I know the range on this is supposed to be pretty good. Certainly the price, everything looks really good. Just hopefully the performance holds up to what I expect out of a high-end radio. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Flysky Noble NB4. We'll see how this drives. I'm actually going to run this back-to-back in my race cars versus other radios that I own that are high performing, and yeah, we'll see how this actually drives. So hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, and notifications buttons. Look for more videos soon. Thanks for watching.